Today we are doing lesson 2.3, subtracting rational numbers. Our I can statements for today: I can subtract rational numbers and I can solve real life problems. Our key idea for today: to subtract rational numbers, you use the same rules for signs that you use for integers. So those rules, remember, boom, boom, that's add the opposite. So instead of 2/5 minus -1/5, we do boom, change to addition, boom, change the sign, make that an addition problem, 2/5 plus 1/5. We add our numerators, 2 plus 1 gives us 3/5. If you're adding with fractions, you do need a common denominator before you add or subtract. All right, so let's take a look at our first one here. Find -4 1/7 minus -6/7. Okay, so boom, change to addition. Boom, change the sign. I now have different signs, -4 1/7 plus 6/7. So we have a couple options. We can leave this mixed number as a mixed number, and we can line it up vertically and subtract. If we do that, we will need to borrow. Or we can make our mixed number into an improper fraction and then operate that way. So I'll show you both ways just so you can see some people prefer one method over the other. I'll start with the improper fraction one. So 7 times 4 is 28 plus 1 is 29. So I'm going to have -29/7 plus a positive 6/7. Okay, different signs, find the difference. If you need to, you can go off to the side, line up those place values. 9 minus 6 is 3. Bring down our 2. More negatives, the answer is going to be negative. So I've got -23/7. That's an improper fraction because I have more on the numerator than the denominator. So I need to do some division. Our numerator goes on the inside, 23. Denominator goes on the outside. 7 goes into 23 3 times. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. So I have 3 2/7. Answer is negative here, so it's really -3 2/7. So that's one way to do it. If you are a person that likes to keep the mixed numbers as mixed numbers, I'll show you how to do that on this side. So -4 1/7. On this one, I didn't need a common denominator, but if you don't have a common denominator, of course, you'll have to do that as your first step. Okay. I don't have a whole number on this one, so the whole number for the 4 is by itself, and then the fractions are lined up. If I have different signs, so I'm going to need to find the difference. I'm going to have to subtract with these. But before I can do that, if I do 1/7 minus 6/7, I'm going to go into the negatives. So I have to borrow. I'm going to change that 4 into a 3. And I'm going to add 1 whole to the 1/7. With fractions, 1 whole means the same number is on the top and on the bottom. So it's like I'm adding 7/7. Okay, so 1 plus 7 is 8. Okay, so really this is like -3 8/7 plus 6/7. And we're doing different signs, so we're finding the difference. All right, so I'm ready. 8/7 minus 6/7, because I have different signs, so I'm subtracting. 8/7 minus 6/7 is 2/7. -3 minus 0 is 0. So, or I'm sorry, -3 minus 0 is -3. So I've got -3 2/7, so I got the same answer this way. I personally like keeping mixed numbers. to me, this looks like less work than over here. But a lot of people prefer just to change your mixed numbers into improper fractions, and that's totally fine to do as well. So either way is fine. You just need to make sure you're showing your work for whatever you do. All right, let's take a look at our next one. This one has decimals. Okay, fine. 12 and 8/10 minus 21 and 6/10. Boom, change to addition. Boom, change the sign. So now this is a negative 21 and 6/10. When we line them up, just like we have before, the one with the greater absolute value, that's going to be the 21.6, goes on the top. I have more for this number than I do for this number. Okay, so I'm going to do 21 and 6/10 on the top, plus a negative 12 and 8/10. You do need to make sure you're lining up those decimal points, and if you need placeholder zeros, you need to add the placeholder zeros. Okay, 6 minus 8 takes me into the negative, so I need to borrow. I'm going to go over to the 1, I'm going to make that a 0, and I'm going to change my 6 into a 16. 16 minus 8 is 8. Okay, I've got decimals to bring down. 0 minus 2, can't do that without going into the negatives, which means I'm going to borrow over here. That 2 is going to be a 1, and this is going to be a 10. Okay, so I have 10 minus 2 is 8, and 1, it's kind of sloppy, that's a 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. I had more negatives. My answer is going to be negative. So my answer on this one is negative 8 and 8/10. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and try these 6 problems on your own. Okay, let's check our work. So, for all of these, first step, boom, boom. Okay, 1/3 plus positive 1/3. I've got a common denominator. Great, I can just add. 1 plus 1 is 2. So my answer for number 1 is 2/3. Number 2, negative 3 and 1/3 minus 5/6. Boom, change to addition. Boom, change the sign. I have the same sign. I'm going to need to find the sum. Okay, so for this one, I'll do an improper fraction. The next one, I'll keep it as a mixed number. So 3 times 3 is 9 plus 1 is 10. So I have negative 10/3 plus my negative 5/6. I do need a common denominator. I'm going to do 6. So my 10 and my 3 need to get multiplied by 2. So that becomes negative 26 plus negative 5/6. Same signs. Find the sum. Negative 20 plus negative 5 is negative 25. 6. As a mixed number, 6 goes into 25 4 times. It's going to be a negative 4. And then I have 1 as a remainder, 1/6. All right, number 3, 4.5 minus 5 and 1/4. Boom, change to addition. Boom, change the sign. Different signs, I'm going to find the difference. I'm going to rewrite it vertically. I'm going to keep my mixed numbers as mixed numbers. I need to make sure the one with the greater absolute value goes on the top. And actually, before I rewrite vertically, I'm going to go ahead and find my common denominator, which I'm going to use fourths. So I'm going to do times 2 times 2. That 4.5 is now going to be 4 2/4 plus negative 5 1/4. Okay, different signs, find the difference. When I write it over here, I'm going to write the greater absolute value on the top, 5 1/4 minus 4 2/4. All right, 1/4 minus 2/4 is going to take me into the negative, so I need to borrow. That 5 becomes a 4. I'm adding 1 whole. My size and my fractions are fourths, so I'm adding 4/4. That's 1 whole that I borrowed from here. So 1/4 plus 4/4, that's 5/4. Minus 2/4, it's going to be 3/4. 4 minus 4 is 0, so I have 3/4. Got to go back to my original problem. I have more negatives. My answer's got to be negative, so that one's going to be a negative 3/4. All right, let's take a look at number 4. Negative 8 and 4/10 minus 6 and 7/10. Boom, change to addition. Boom, change the sign. Same sign, find the sum. We're adding. I'm going to put the one with the greater absolute value on top and line up my decimal points. Negative 8 and 4/10 plus negative 6 and 7/10. 4 plus 7 is 11. Bring down that decimal, carry the 1. 1 plus 8 is 9. Plus 6 is going to be 15. Both of these are negatives. Answer is going to be negative. Number 5, negative 20.5 minus negative 20.5. Boom, change to addition. Boom, change the sign. I'm going to rewrite it vertically. Negative 20.5 plus 20.5. Now you might have seen it before I rewrote it. These are additive inverses, they're going to equal 0. I don't even really need to line up my decimal for that one because they do cancel out. Okay, and then number 6, I have 41/100 minus negative 7/100. Boom, change to addition. Boom, change the sign. I am now adding 2 positive numbers. 41/100 plus 7/100. Make sure you're lining up those decimals. Okay, 1 plus 7 is 8. 4 plus 0 is 4. Bring down the decimal. 0 plus 0 is 0. Positive numbers, positive answer. 48/100 is my answer on that one. All right. Example 3 here, third type of problem is finding the distance between 2 numbers on the number line. That is subtraction. To find the difference, we have to subtract these. Now, distance is always positive, so you want to subtract it in a way that's going to give you a positive answer. And to do that, you'll do the greatest minus the least. Now, if you accidentally subtract in the other order and you get a negative answer, that's okay. You just need to know that you need the absolute value of that. You have to have the positive answer because this is a distance problem. All right, so here's the problem they're asking us. 2 1/3 minus negative 2 2/3. Boom, change to addition. Boom, change the sign. Same signs, find the sum. I'm going to leave these as mixed numbers. I'm going to write them vertically so my fractions and my whole numbers are lining up here. All right, I already have a common denominator. That makes it easier for me. 1/3 plus 2/3 is 3/3. 2 plus 2 is 4. But 3/3 is really like 1 whole. So it's like I have to do 4 plus 1. That's going to be 5. If I wanted to make these improper fractions and add them, I could. I would still end up with the same final answer. All right. Our story problem here. It says, in the water, the bottom of a boat is 2 1/10 feet below the surface, and the top of the boat is 8 7/10 feet above it. Towed on a trailer, the bottom of the boat is 1 3/10 feet above the ground. Can the boat and the trailer pass under the bridge? And over here in the picture, it tells us the clearance for the bridge is 11 feet and 8 inches. Okay, so sometimes for story problems, I find a picture is helpful, so I'm going to do that here. Here's my water. Okay, in the water, the bottom of the boat is 2 1 feet below the surface. There's my boat. Okay, they're telling us that this part is 2 1/10 foot. They're telling us that this part is 8 7/10 feet. Okay, so I've got to put those two parts together to figure out how tall the boat is. So let's see, 8 and 7/10 plus 2 and 1/10, 7 plus 1 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. I got to make sure that I'm bringing my decimal down. Now you could have also seen this as minus a negative if you wanted to say this is under the water. It's negative 2 and 1/10 feet. I'm going to subtract to find the difference. But subtracting a negative, adding positive, same thing. And I think the way my picture looks, it makes sense to me, at least visually, to add those two together. Okay, 10.8 is how tall the boat is. But that's not my final answer because I need to include this trailer. So I'm going to take my boat. Same boat. This time I'm putting it on a trailer. So we said the boat was 10.8. And the bottom, the trailer, is 1 and 3/10 feet tall. Again, as I'm drawing my picture, I've lined up my decimals. Okay, so now I'm going to add 8 plus 3 is 11. 1 plus 0 is 1 plus 1 is 2. Bring down that decimal. Bring down my extra 1 here. 12.1 feet is my answer for the height of the boat on the trailer. Can the boat and the trailer pass under the bridge? No. This is 11 feet 8 inches. This is more than 12 feet. So no, it's not going to work. All right, go ahead and try these two problems. Pause the video and try them on your own. Okay, let's see if you did them correctly. So negative 7.5 and 15 and 3/10. Distance between them on the number line. We're going to subtract. We're going to put the larger one. That would be the negative 7 and 5/10. When I'm writing the problem, I'm going to write that one first because greatest minus least is going to give us a positive answer. Negative 7 and 5/10 minus negative 15 and 3/10. Boom, change to addition. Boom, change the sign of the next number. I now have different signs. I'm going to find the difference of these numbers. Larger absolute value is going on the top. We're lining up the decimal. Okay, 3 minus 5 is going to take me into the negative, so I have to borrow. That becomes a 4. This becomes a 13. 13 minus 5 is 8. Bring down my decimal. 4 minus 7 is going to take me into the negative, so again, I'm going to borrow. That's going to be a 0. This will be a 14. 14 minus 7 is 7. Going back over to this problem, more positives, the answer is positive, and really it's a distance problem, so I need a positive answer. If I subtracted in the other order originally and I got a negative answer, I would need to make sure that I found the absolute value at the end. Since I did greatest minus least, that gives me a positive answer in the first place. So 7 and 8/10, that's our distance. 8 is kind of tricky. It says an example for the clearance is 12 feet 1 inch. Can the boat and the trailer pass under the bridge? We found that the trailer and the boat together were 12 and 1/10. And we're comparing to 12 feet and 1 inch. Those are not the same thing. 1 inch means like 1/12 because they're 12 inches in a foot. 12.1 does not mean the same thing as 12 and 1/12. This is 12 and 1/10. So I could compare them lots of different ways. I think I'm going to change my 1/12 into a decimal and compare them that way. I could have also changed the 1/10 into a fraction and compared them with fractions as well. 1/12 is a decimal. 1, my numerator, divided by 12, my denominator. 12 does not go in to 1. Adding my decimals and my zeros. 12 does not go into 10. So I'm going to add another 0. 12 does go into 100. It does that 8 times. 8 times 12 is going to give me 96. (100) minus 96 is 4. Okay. Gonna bring down that 0. Okay, so let's see. 12 goes into 43 times. 3 times 12 is 36. Oh, I got another 4. It's telling me that since I got a 4 here and a 4 here, my 3 is going to be repeating. So I'm going to bring that decimal part back over to my 12 and 1/12. Okay, so which ones can this go underneath here? No, this is the bigger number. 12 and 1/10 is greater than 12 and 1/12 because this is 12.1 and this is 12.0. When we're comparing those tenths places, this is bigger. So can it pass under the bridge? Nope.